Welcome to Life After, a podcast for women to take you from feeling like you're just surviving to thriving, to creating a life you really love. Expect to discover tips and tricks to get there. Each episode will have actionable steps to empower you to make changes. I started this podcast because I've been through it all, from getting out of a marriage with a narcissist to completely rebuilding my life. And now I'm on a mission to help you too. You can change your life. It's absolutely possible. Too much of a good thing can be wonderful. Mae West. Write it on your heart that every day is the best day in the year. Ralph Waldo Emerson. The more you praise and celebrate your life, the more there is in life to celebrate. Oprah. Life should not only be lived, it should be celebrated. Unknown. In this episode, we are going to celebrate. My youngest is turning 18, and we are celebrating. It's important to celebrate. It's so easy to forego celebrating the milestones, big or small, in our lives. We often skip the step of celebrating and just move on to the next thing, the next goal. I know I'm certainly guilty of that. Great, I accomplished this. What do I want to accomplish next? Without often ever even taking a pause. In addition to celebrating an event this big, your youngest child turning 18, it can also trigger feelings around transition and change. For those of you who have had an intimate partner with a narcissist, your youngest turning 18 means something completely different than for those of you who haven't had to co-parent with a narcissist. It means freedom and liberation. Woohoo! This liberation can come in small ways. For example, many years ago, when the kids started to initially reject their dad, I was ordered by the court to send a weekly email to him. You cannot believe how thrilled I am that I don't have to send another email. You might think it's no big deal. What's an email? We send them all day, every day. But I'm telling you, when you've got that hanging around your neck, not having to do it any longer is amazing. And the reason it's a big deal is because it's a connection point. That email or any small thing like that seems small is an engagement with your narcissist, which still gives them some measure of control. The ability to continue to force you to talk to them, to share, and then inevitably to have to defend or explain yourselves or what the kids are doing. The narcissist looks for any means of control they can take, however small. So even a weekly email, or actually, especially a weekly email, when there's no other point of contact, can still be fraught with fear and anticipation. Liberation can come in big ways too. It's life-altering. It's really life-altering. An abusive relationship with a narcissist. I mean, not having to be in that position anymore. It impacts not only you, but the ramifications to your children are also huge. When co-parenting with a narcissist, even one that was really remote like mine was, there are still many of those connection points. Now, it's definitely easier than it was in those early years. And I know I don't talk about my journey as much, about what happened to us as much. And this really is in part, it's an intentional decision on my part, because I want the work that I do to be about helping you, not reliving or repeatedly going over, focusing on what the kids and I went through. It's not that the kids and I don't have really serious lived experience in this way. It's that this podcast, frankly, would be 3 days long if I had to share it all. And I've always worked really hard to protect my kids. That has been my North Star through this all. Those early years, right after the ex and I split up, were so incredibly painful and confusing. They leave you feeling out of control, which is exactly where the narcissist wants you, full of uncertainty and fear, constantly questioning every single move you make. They revel in that. How do you get through it? Well, you spend as much time as possible learning and healing and growing, and putting as much distance as is safe for you and your kids if you have them. It took a long time to get my kids safe, and the level of damage that was done to them by him really sometimes felt immeasurable. Just another source of pain. One important thing to learn about is this concept of post-separation abuse. Now, this can be really hard because when you're trying to get out of a relationship, the idea that this post-separation abuse exists can almost be debilitating for people. And a lot of people stay for reasons other than wanting to have that freedom from the relationship. So know that these 8 ways that a narcissist can abuse you post-separation are real, and they're possible, and you can get through them. They are, these 8 stages: alienation allegations, neglectful or abusive parenting, coercive control, isolation. Oh man, the isolation can be a hard one. Harassment and stalking, legal abuse, financial abuse, and finally, the last is counterparenting. So I've always been, you'll hear me mention her time and time again on the podcast. I've always been so grateful for the work of Tina Swithin, who does One Mom's Battle. She was the first person I knew of to talk about the post-separation abuse wheel, and I'll leave a link to her work, her website, in the chat. So if you want to check this out more, you can. She's also just a really fantastic resource and someone I really leaned into her work when in those early years, especially. Just knowing that these behaviors are happening to you helps you recognize them and therefore deal with them, acknowledge them. It also provides really an explanation for all those times you were being gaslit or forced to walk on eggshells. If you're like me, where every single one of those post-separation tactics were used against you, in addition to the quote-unquote normal narcissistic behaviors while being in the relationship, like gaslighting, please reach out for additional help and support, right? Because if you experienced the normal narcissistic behaviors while in the relationship, and then you're leaving the relationship and you're facing even one of those post-separation tactics, let alone more of them or all 8 of them like I did, having additional help and support is really critical. And you know, I learned, really in hindsight, I've recognized more than anything else, I would say, is that having someone that understands what you've been through and has been through it can help you in ways you can't even imagine. It's so important. I had a support system, which is also so helpful and key, but because it happened so long ago, there wasn't the resources that are so much more readily available today. And so really finding someone that understands exactly what you're going through can what it does is it makes the process of what you've experienced shorter, because you can work through it more easily. You have someone that understands, you can bounce ideas off of them. So keep that in mind. I've talked about this before as well, and that is that our family courts are broken in most jurisdictions. We need more education for judges and attorneys to really comprehend that when there is a high conflict divorce, there is a reason for that. In my experience, two adults, even who cannot get along, will come together in a divorce and ultimately do right by their children. When that's not happening, it means when in that situation, when the conflict just goes on and on and on, and I'll tell you, my entire divorce proceedings took almost a decade, 9 years it took. In that situation, one of the parties, now hear me on this, it's often the one that doesn't look like it, is intentionally causing issues to continue to prolong the conflict. So it is often the narcissist who appears at face value to be the one who is rational and reasonable. And of course I want what's best for my kids, right? They thrive on conflict. The narcissist game is to keep you engaged in any way possible for as long as possible, because it's all about power and control. So learning how to navigate that can take some time. And when you have support, specific support with someone who's been through it and who understands what game the narcissist is playing, it takes less time to learn how to navigate through it, because you have strategies that work to change your situation, that other people have already used and work. The narcissist often makes us look crazy because it's crazy making. You can't do anything right. They're constantly criticizing you and keeping you off guard. All of those normal narcissistic behaviors then get translated onto a stage. In many cases at this point, it's a legal stage. You're still trying to see the forest through the trees while they carry on without a second thought. Doesn't even faze them. I know that this all sounds absolutely horrible and impossible to bear, right? Because in those early days, that's how it feels. Impossible. For those of you that haven't experienced what I'm describing, oh, thank God you haven't. And please, please, please be kind to someone who is experiencing it. Be willing to listen to what they have to say and not just assume that the picture that's being painted of them is an accurate one. Now, this episode is supposed to be all about celebration, right? And I've just laid out this life experience that is so difficult and so challenging and so impossible. And you feel like, oh man, you feel like you're trapped and stuck and there's no way out. But then you have a moment of insight, and then you get 2 minutes of peace because you're away from your narcissist. And there are glimmers of a new, calmer, more peaceful life ahead of you. Lean into those moments as much as you can every single time you have them. Remember, what we focus on expands. I was talking to a friend recently. We're working on a project together about healing from narcissistic abuse, and you'll start seeing some, I'll start mentioning it more as we're developing, and keep you posted on that if you're curious. In any case, I was telling her that even when my life was at its worst, after he left and he was employing all 8 of those post-separation abuse tactics, and oh man, it was just so stressful and confusing, I always knew that it was going to be okay. I had this incredibly strong belief that I don't know where it came from, frankly, but I had this incredibly strong belief that we would be okay, that everything was going to work out. If you've ever had those moments, stay in them for as long as you can feel that calm, the peace, the power of choosing yourself, because it will be okay. It really is going to work out. I think that's I think that's why my favorite life skills module is what you tell your brain it believes. Because in these moments, while, the thing is, it might not work out exactly how you think it will, but holding on to the truth and the knowledge and the wisdom that it's going to be okay is what your focus is. If you haven't had these thoughts yet, they will come. As you create separation, physical, mental, emotional separation between you and your narcissist, they will come. Learn more about what narcissistic behavior looks like so that you can clear that fog that the narcissist has put you in as quickly as possible. What I've come to learn is that feeling is really that feeling and belief that it's going to be okay, that it's going to work out, is hope. And the great news about that, truly a thing to celebrate, is that we can increase our levels of hope. I've done a couple episodes focusing on hope and the science of hope, so feel free to go back and listen to those. And we even had John Thunheim, if you'll remember, my special guest, John Thunheim, which was episode number 52. Join us to talk about hope. I encourage you to either go back and listen to those episodes for some more in-depth information, or you can check out the book Hope Rising by Casey Gwynn and Chan Hellman. Understanding that hope is something that we can increase our hope levels is one of those elements that really, really can change our lives in ways that we don't anticipate and don't think is possible, right? So I really encourage you to lean into this concept and to learn more about the science of hope. The key to hope is that there are always ways to build more hope. So when you're in the very early stages of understanding the damage a narcissist can do, the ways that they can and have wreaked complete havoc, sometimes those steps for more hope are teeny tiny baby steps, and that's okay. Taking your agency back, making your own decisions, connecting to your own feelings can feel like baby steps. And they are all baby steps of action. So as long as you're moving towards taking those baby steps and taking the action that you need to take, you will get through it. And just like any other kind of learning curve, the steps get a little bigger, a little more satisfying, and before you know it, you're on the other side of it, living the life that you want for you and your kids. When you practice all of these tips and tools, your life goes, I guess I should say not just the tips and tools in this episode, but the tips and tools that are in all of my episodes. Your life goes in directions you never imagined. You never imagined were possible. And what happens in this process is you get to start seeing what you want, how you want to live, what you want your life to look like, and what you want to do. That shift from catering to the narcissist to focusing on how you want to live your life is a critical step in changing your life. And then, before you know it, you are celebrating your youngest child's 18th birthday, where your ultimate freedom lies. Embrace it and enjoy it. This podcast is a valuable resource for anyone seeking to make meaningful changes in their life. I'm here to support you on your unique journey, offering guidance and encouragement every step of the way. There will be new episodes on the second and fourth Wednesday of every month. Please follow on your favorite podcast platform so you don't miss any episodes. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to today's episode on celebration. Remember, no matter where you are on your journey, your freedom is closer than ever before. You will have a life that is yours to live exactly as you desire. You're almost there. It's happening. You're taking the steps, and you've got this. As a side note, a final note, as it were, if you need support, please reach out. There's always my contact information in the show notes. We get through these incredibly difficult times of our lives when we aren't alone. As we wrap up, here's the thing. I've made every mistake. I've literally been there and done that. It's one step at a time, and you'll get there. There's hope. You've got this. If you're struggling in a relationship and wondering if it might be controlling, you're not alone. Download my free PDF at locatecoaching.com/free gift to help you find clarity and confidence. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you soon.